I don't know how. We're going to Bilbao. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of the podcast. Tottenham Hotspur are in a European final again. Let's hope it goes better than the last one. I'm joined by the man, the myth, legend, Harry, as always.
You're right, guys.
I have forbidden him from talking about the Premier League because it's positivity only. And we're joined by Kris, making his debut on the podcast. How you doing?
Good, bro. How are you? How's everyone, man?
Good, yeah. Ignoring the Premier League, we're good. This week, we're going to be talking about, obviously, the Europa League. We're going to talk about the result against Glimt. Talk about the Europa League campaign as a whole, and then predict the final where Harry doesn't want to win against anyone. Yeah, so let's go. So, we beat Glimt. What was the score again? I can't remember. It was 2-0, wasn't it?
2-0, 5-1 aggregate, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, 2-0, 5-1 aggregate. I must say, first of all, and I'm going to praise him to hell and high earth, and I hope we're going to talk about who we want to score the winning goal if we do win it at the end. But I'm so proud of Dominic Solanke because he ran and he ran and he ran and he ran again, and he deserved his goal. Fair play to Romero, by the way. Fucking what a header across. But Solanke made what me and Harry have said all season, a striker's instinctive run, movement in the box. He deserved his goal. And then Pedro Porro, listen, we all know it was a cross, but if you keep crossing like that, keep crossing. We did say when we predicted the semi-final, I must say I expected Bo to give us a bit more. I thought they'd press a little bit more. They kind of just seemed to be happy to long out the game as long as possible before trying to go for it. The players played calm, played sensibly. We were defensively absolutely rock solid. Vicario made a couple of really good saves. Generally, I thought it was a perfect away performance. Again, for another European away knockout game. Again, despite the fact that this guy can't adapt the minute the score at the top says Premier League. But anyway, Harry, thoughts on Thursday?
Bodo Glimt, yeah, like I watched the Lazio game when they played. They were way better against Lazio than they were against us. Like they were levels above. Like I don't know whether it was the occasion or whether it was like, you know, at the same time on paper we should be beating Bodo anyway. Like really, if we're being honest, like we should be getting to the final. And to be fair, most of the teams we played this rounds or the knockout rounds, like on paper we should be beating them, like Alkmaar and whoever else. Like. I'm sorry, we should be beating these teams. But like Bodo, for me, like maybe it was the occasion, maybe it was, I don't know what it was. They just seemed like they were quite scared to do anything, and they just didn't seem to do anything. But at the same time, I just kind of think we just sat back because I mean we had a 2-goal lead, and it was quite easy just to sit back and just soak up the pressure and hit them on the counter. And because they didn't really do anything, I don't remember Vicario making like loads and loads of saves. No. It was quite a simple semi-final, really. I mean, it was a lot less stressful than I thought it would be. But at the same time, like Bodo did great to get to where they were, and they're still kind of like a minnow team, really. So
shout out to the Bo Glimt fan that joined my TikTok live after when I got home, and he was absolutely lovely. And listen, do you know what? Any of those, apart from the few dickheads that were saying, "What do we think of Tottenham?" Other than that, for the majority of their fans I interacted with over the 2 legs, they were lovely. Really nice, really polite, like clearly passionate football fans. And I think if they continue as a club on that trajectory, it's only a matter of time before they're playing in the Champions League. You know, Kris, for you?
I probably agree with that.
What about Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
I think we're just a classic. Just done what we should have done, innit? Done what we should do. But yeah, I'm happy that Solanke scored, yes, but I've been very unhappy with Solanke all season.
Oh no! Am I going to have to stand in defence? Right, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about the campaign.
Let's be honest. Solanke is a bang average striker. If we're being brutally honest, he's not a top striker. He's far from a top striker. In fact, Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Keane, Bimtar Berbatov, I used to watch back in the day, were all better than this guy.
I don't disagree with that, but right. My point.
If you're saying is of that level of striker, right? I'm not comparing him to Harry Kane. I'm listing players that were like good strikers. If he's not as good as that, then what is he doing at Tottenham Hotspur?
But my argument is that I actually think the manager, this is something stupid, I think the manager brought him in less for his goals and more for his pressing. We said that at the start of the season. His pressing numbers matched exactly what Ange wanted.
But then the goal contribution matches his average goal contributions each season, though, really. Because if you add his European goals and cup goals to his Premier League goals, which is like 7, I estimated he's a 10 to 15 goal a season striker.
Yeah.
He's kind of hitting those numbers, really, isn't he?
17 million.
Because he's playing more competition. Yeah. So he's going to hit the same numbers.
I still think when we have a manager who actually bothers to put service into the striker rather than just gets the striker to press, I think it'll be different. But anyway, got the job done against Bows. Listen, it's credit to those Spurs fans that went away, by the way. Fair play. And do you know what? Something I loved as well at the end of the game when Matthias Tell ran and jumped in with the fans. That was lovely. Like, he's really shown why he has the mentality to be at a club like Bayern Munich and what they saw in him as a youngster. And I think if he can bring some of that, we've always said this, though, it doesn't matter what age you are as a player. If you're ready to step up, you're ready to step up.
Oh, yeah, that's what I say.
And for me, if Sonny doesn't start on Thursday or on Wednesday, I think he will be the one to start. Because I just think he has so much drive and so much hunger, and I really don't want to see Richarlison start. So our first Europa League game was a 3-0 win against Karabag. That was one where Dragusin got sent off, and me and Harry had about a 15-minute rant about what Harry said, well, it was a little bit of Van de Ven playing the pass short. I said it was all Dragusin because he was a bit of a twat. Anyway, we won 3-0. Then we went away to Feather and Akos. I can't lie, we played pretty crap in that game.
We were lucky to get that.
We got the win. That's one of them, like, could have gone 50-50, but we got the win. AZ Alkmaar, which I went to with my stepdad, we won 1-0. Richarlison scored a penalty. Fair play to Maddison, by the way, still for that, because Richarlison had just got me and Harry had like a 20-minute long discussion, actually. We're going back through the podcast for the year now. We'll have to do like a summary at the end of the season of our favourite podcast. But we were talking about it because I turned around and said that I thought it would show leadership for Maddison to give the penalty to Richarlison after just coming back from an injury when he's low on confidence. And then he got injured again, so it didn't really matter anyway. Galatasaray 3-2. We lost. Will Lancashire got sent off. But that game was where I really started to believe that it could be possible because with 10 men, we should have been dead and out of that game. And they fought till the very last minute. And in the end, we were probably unlucky not to equalise. So I feel like that was one of those games that showed in Europe we were going to have the fighting spirit. Then we drew 2-2 with Roma. My stepdad was at that game. That was like a last-minute equaliser, wasn't it? It was shocking. Rangers 1-1 away at Ibrox.
That was awful as well.
That was a shit game.
Yeah.
We should
We
have
were
lost
crap
that.
that day. We were so
Then
crap.
we had Hoffenheim away in the Europa League. We played quite well in that game.
That was good.
Sonny got 2. That was after like a couple of weeks ago when Harry said, "Oh, Sonny hasn't scored against German clubs in ages," and I threw that game at him, and he just shut up completely. Then we played Elfsborg, and beat them 3-0.
And that's when the youngsters came on. Ajayi came on.
Yes, that was it. Yeah.
Michael Moore scored the last goal. Right?
And then we haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
We lost 1-0 away to AZ Alkmaar, then won 3-1 at home in the first knockout round. We drew 1-1 with Frankfurt at home and then 1-0 away at Frankfurt. That away performance against Frankfurt was brilliant. There were a couple of little bits where like maybe they could score, maybe could not. But generally, I thought we played really well.
3 chances, remember? Like Christensen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he missed 2. Frankfurt, I'd say, is probably the first Europa League quality team we played in the knockouts.
Yeah.
Then we played, obviously, Bo Glimt, beat him 3-1 at home, conceded that deflection. A really good, solid 2-0 away performance. And then we go into Europa League final against Manchester United. Manchester United's run, because we might as well talk about that before we talk about our campaign, because it's relevant, started with a 1-1 draw with FC Twente, a 3-3 draw with Porto, a 1-1 draw with Fenerbahce, 2-0 win against PAOK, beat Bo Glimt 3-2, beat Victor Pleasant 2-1.
Do you see what Marinakis did?
I did. We'll talk about that at the end. Beat Rangers 2-1. Beat Romanian team whose name I can't pronounce 2-0. Drew 1-1 with Sociedad. Beat Sociedad 4-1. Drew 2-2 with Lyon. Beat Lyon 5-4. Beat Athletic Club 3-0 and 4-1. So I would argue, realistically, even though Man United had a slightly bigger run, the only game that they won convincingly in the knockouts was Bilbao. All the others weren't convincing wins. They beat teams, but it wasn't like.
To be honest, though, United I think have had a much harder run than us.
I'd say harder, yes, but I don't think. I don't think performance-wise. I don't think United have set like there's. For me, if those teams had been a better version of those teams they played, United could have lost.
Like judge really because I mean, you could argue that with us though. Frankfurt was like not exactly an easy tie that we got
It's
through.
such the whole
Like,
competition. This is why I think it's so impossible to predict the final. I'm going to make
mean,
you do it anyway. But
the Alkmaar game again, like obviously we lost 1-0 at home away, and we won at home 3-1. But that could have easily gone wrong because obviously we only beat 1-0 in the groups, didn't we?
Yeah.
Albeit we did rest players,
Yeah.
but then at the same time I look at Lyon.
Yeah, like Lyon should have been through against United. That should have been dead and buried. And
like those things are like way higher quality than what we played. Like, so I know. I think it's quite dangerous the fact United won Bilbao so convincingly in the second leg because.
But to be fair, the minute it went 2-1 United, Bilbao gave up. They were awful, absolutely awful. For bearing in mind, if you said to Tottenham, right, you're in a semi-final, and if you make it to the final's held at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and those players aren't dying on the pitch at the end to get a win, you're not welcome back.
Then Bilbao were never going to go through after the first leg. They lost 3-0 at home and with a red card.
But come on, they should have had more fight than that, surely.
No, they were missing like both the Williams and a few other players. I remember.
So that they had their team was so weak compared to what the best team actually is. So Man United got very lucky in that sense, in my opinion. Anyways, very lucky. How can you have two of their best players out injured for their biggest game in years?
But there's rumours that they both sat it out to avoid the embarrassment, knowing United were going to go out the tie. I don't know whether I believe that or not. But overall, I would say our Europa League campaign has been on par with what you expect, given the summer that we had. We've made it to the final relatively convincingly, not as convincing as it should have been, not as touch and go as it could have been either, especially given the Premier League form. What would you... I'll go with you first, Chris. What would you give our Europa League campaign out of 10 as it stands? It's a really, really hard thing to say because you don't know whether we won or not, but as it stands...
Well, it made it to the final, so it's been a very good campaign, yes. We lost one game, which is Galatasaray. So I'll give it a 7 because obviously you have to win it for the 10. And a 9 and 10, but I'll say 7, I would say.
Harry?
I agree with him at 7.
Yeah, I'll go with a 7 as well. Scores on the doors, we've all got the same. I'm going to go for 7 for that exact reason. We've had a great campaign, but it means fuck all if you don't win it.
Yeah.
Simple as that, really.
For me, I don't know. I think both. For me, I think more affects quality of the actual competition rather than like the individual teams. We could sit here and debate whether Bilbao as good as they were years ago, or Sociedad, or Lyon, because Lyon are not the same team they used to be. But what a big factor for me is with these European competitions, obviously dismissing the Champions League here because it's not relevant. The teams from Champions League are not dropping into the Europa League. The teams from Europa League are not dropping into the Conference League. So this has made a massive impact on the quality of the teams you will play. Because normally you play like a Seville, like one of those teams who finished third in their group in the Champions League, which, okay, they might not be good enough to be in the Champions League, right? But Seville was like notorious for winning the Europa League because they drop in, right? That's just one team as an example, right? So the quality of the competition, even though we're playing more games, and this is not just the good at competition itself, because I have this feeling for football in general, by the way. Like the quality is so much less, but we're given more games. That's how I felt this competition was like. Obviously, Champions League's the same because they increased the size, didn't they? And then they increased the games, and they changed the format, but. Like, just the quality is a lot less than previous years.
Can I just point out that even if teams drop down, Seville still couldn't have won it anyway because they never qualified for Champions League this year.
I know, but it was just an example.
No, but I get what you're saying. But my other point to that is, apart from Sevilla, do you know how many teams that drop down actually end up going on to win the Europa League? It tends to be someone who's already been in the competition all season. It's very rarely actually.
The reason Seville came up to my head is because that's...
but that's what I'm saying. They're the exception. For the majority of time...
You won't be playing a Champions League quality team ever in this competition anymore. Because,
but in my opinion, the whole point of a 3-tier system is for you to see who's the best in the elite of the elite competition in Europe. If you're not good enough to be in that, okay, who's the best of the rest then? Who's the best in the next category? Who's the best in the next category? Imagine I said that in the Championship, halfway through the season, 3 teams drop down. No one in the Championship would ever get promoted. For me personally, I believe that the European competition should never have been structured like that in the first place. The only reason why it was structured like that was to make more games. That's the only reason why it was structured like that, to make the Champions League seem more of a better competition to be in, even if you're shit. Because, But if you're shit but not that shit, have a go at the Europa League. No, just fucking qualify for the Europa League. If you're not good enough to be in the top 2 teams in the Champions League, you're knocked out of European competition. That's how I believe it should have been from day dot. So all this whole thing with all these fucking pundits and
the fact that in this is why when we rule off these teams, even the teams United played, I'm just like a lot of them has been teams they used to be good a few years ago or 10 years ago even. Something like Bilbao. I remember when they had Lorente back in the day. They were amazing.
Fernando.
That was peak Bilbao when they had Fernando Lorente in his peak. This is 2010s, but these are a lot of has-been teams. A lot of teams like Frankfurt. Okay, they won the Europa League a few years ago. Now they're not the same team as they were. Okay, they lost Glasner as well, and they lost was it Werner in his peak back then. So it does play a part, which is why Spurs and United were the favourites, because if you look at the quality of the team on paper,
we're miles better than everyone else.
We're way better than most of these teams.
What's your take?
Saying that? So you're saying that, yeah, but we've also dropped down a lot of quality as well, same as United. To 9 years ago, yeah. Look at us, man. We were so much.
Yeah, imagine this. Now. Imagine that team now in the Europa League is the same level. It's not. I completely get what you're saying. It's not like we're talking about has-been teams. We are one of those has-been teams. Yeah, we challenge for the title. We challenge for the Champions League. We challenge for Europe every year. We were pushing top 1, top 2, whatever, season upon season. It stopped. We fell off a cliff. We made a bunch of shit decisions. Made a bunch more shit decisions. Sacked the only manager to ever beat Pep in the final. Then made a bunch more wrong decisions. Tried to rebuild, but did about an eighth of it. So we're on par. The only difference between us and those caliber teams is we can spend a bit more on our players. Well, I'd rather be a German team spending £5 million on a player that turns into a £50 million player than spend £50 million on Brennan Johnson and be crying about it for the next decade.
Then the problem is, you look at teams like that, Dortmund is another team that used to be amazing, and now it's not because they did that philosophy. Because Dortmund were, in the end, they turned into a feeder club.
Yeah.
100%. Which is why this whole we have to buy young and develop will never work in the long run, because there'll come a point where these players will want to move on because they're not.
And they'll never all peak at the same time. They're all going to peak at different times.
Where a lot of them peaked at the same time. Exactly. Under Poch and Redknapp, we had 2 teams like that.
Yes.
But in order to finish those teams off, you need to buy established players. Yeah. And this is why Spurs will always run into the same.
Because exactly what Kris was saying before you joined. I knew you guys were going to fucking be on the same page. For me personally, right, so first of all, I'm going to pose the next question then. If we win the Europa League, who's had a better season, Spurs or Arsenal? Kris, you first. Bearing in mind what we've been saying for years as Tottenham fans.
Yes, I know what you mean, but big but. My heart would say obviously Tottenham there, because Tottenham fan, if we win a trophy, that's a trophy above anything, yeah. But no way. You can't sit there and say we've had a better season than Arsenal. We've lost 20 Premier League games.
It'll be 22 probably.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I actually predicted 21 a few months ago. It's turning out.
Yeah, but you were joking when you said that. Don't even start on me.
I said that
you were joking.
No, I went on stream. Deji Spurs.
Yeah,
you guys know. I went on stream with him and I go, "We're going to lose 21 games." And he was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And blah blah blah. Anyway,
do you remember Harry back in February where we did a prediction of all of our results at the end of the season, and you were like, "That's a bit optimistic." Maybe it was a little bit too optimistic. I don't think yours was pessimistic enough in the end. Apparently,
yeah. But for me, if we finish mid-table or 8th or something, or no, let me finish. I would have said we'd had a better season though, but because how shit we are, we're literally if the 3 teams that got promoted were any good, one of them went on a run, Ipswich went on a good run for 5, 6, 7 games, we'd be in a relegation fight. So I can't sit there and say we had a better season than Arsenal, even though we're in the cup final. And also Arsenal were in the Champions League, they were in the Champions League, and they obviously
got locked out, which is great. 4th place trophy. Yeah.
What would happen to us if we play PSG? We get destroyed.
Right.
But for me, I hate to say it, but I'll probably have to agree with Kris on this one.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I'm going to be the odd one out because let me ask you this question.
I would have revised it.
Let me ask you this question. If Everton or Villa or Bournemouth finished 18th and won the 17th and won the Europa League, would you say the same thing? Of course you wouldn't. The only reason you're saying it is because you expect more from us. But For me personally,
if Villa, I'd expect more from Villa, especially now.
Okay, then. So let me ask you this question. Let's say next season, let's say Villa don't qualify for Champions League, they qualify for the Europa League. Next season, Villa finish just above the relegation zone, but win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Who's had a better season, Villa or Arsenal? Arsenal is second and trophyless again.
Arsenal, probably.
No.
Right. The way I see it, and Spurs legends for years have said it, you're defined by what you win. That's what makes you a legend. For me, you have to win. If you win something, you cement yourself as a club legend.
I'm not expecting us, like, we were talking about Ange before this all went to pot, right? And I was saying it's going to go to pot, but I didn't think it would get this bad, right? You know, I think it's been bad.
Yeah, I didn't think it's bad.
Because it got this bad, like, because we've lost 20 flipping games. Like, and I watch this every week, I'm just like, honestly, I would go to Spurs in the 90s, right? In the 2000s, like early 2000s, we were so bad. But we were never this bad, even with players who were much worse than this. And this is why I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, we had a better season last, because we're 17th. But the problem is that it's not because of like all our players are back now. Because he gave an excuse of injury. Did you see Ange's presser after the game when he was like, because we've had players in competitions, that's why we're doing so badly.
Yeah, no, that's stupid. But these same players that are fit and winning you in the Europa League for you, like, it's crazy.
Like I don't know. This what, like, if we finished mid-table, like, you know, I look at Palace who played against us, right, and they're obviously in the FA Cup final, but also they're somewhat still competitive in the league. I'm not expecting Palace to finish top 4, but
they're only a point off their joint record of a Premier League points tally.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So I look, so they're still really good in the league, somewhat relative to how the quality of the players. Plus, they're in the FA Cup final, so for me, Glasnow's done a brilliant job, especially where they were in the season. But we'll look at us, and I'm just like, just don't know. But also, we kind of have to like put up with this because we used to say for years, I take 17th in a trophy.
Go on, Chris. Go on.
Sorry. That was when, yeah. This competition we're in now was a lot better in quality though. So it's Europa League, yeah, cool. It's still obviously still a major trophy, yes. Like 100% it is a major trophy, yes. Win it, fantastic, yeah. But in comparison to Arsenal, if we were in the Champions League this season, yeah, ain't no way we'd even probably make past a knockout playoff round.
Right, but let me ask you this question. If we finished second and got knocked out in Champions League semi-final and Arsenal won the Europa League, every single one of their cunts would be saying, sorry, fans.
But that's rivalry, though.
That's what they always said that about us. When we came second and they would come fifth.
And win an FA Cup, it was always better to win the FA Cup, always, yeah.
No, but I don't believe that football's not, I can say football, it's like, it needs to win trophies and stuff, but no, it's not all about trophies, man. I want to be able to watch my team week in, week out and enjoy it. With Ange, this season especially, I haven't enjoyed it.
Right, I don't disagree with that, but we're in May, the season's done, the league's done, Europe's done, in terms of qualification for the league. Well, not quite, but most of it's done. At this stage, we don't have the choice between enjoying the season and winning a trophy. It's either the season's completely and utterly miserable. We're already in the 17th or win a trophy bracket. So whether we think that's more successful or not, we might as well have that first. Because what's the alternative? Don't worry about it. We'll lose this final. We'll go again next year. And like that, we're already here now. Whether we like it or not, we have stumbled in to what we've always said for years. Would we take 17th in a trophy? Yeah, we've always said it. Taking the fucking piss. We've always said it as a joke. We've always said it as a backhanded comment of, oh, this will never happen. Well, Ange's gone, you wanted your dreams, I've made your dreams come true. Not the ones you fucking wanted.
Even though I think Ange's performances in the Europa League are kind of narcissistic, because I think he's doing it for himself. I don't think he's doing it for
Yeah, I think so. He's doing it to save face. And this is where me and Chris said, right before you joined the call earlier, that I think he will leave if he wins so that his reputation's intact, and then he can go, oh, no one will ever remember the league. Everyone will remember the Europa League. Everyone will remember that night in Bilbao. All the players will ever talk about is, I love the manager for that night in Bilbao. So for me personally, I think, I do agree with you, Harry. I think there's no way on God's green, I'm sorry, there's no way you can play that wide and that naive and that open in the Premier League and be that defensively rock solid away into the hardest places to go in Europe for the level we're at right now, and go away and get clean sheets. And not just clean sheets, but comfortable wins. There's no way. He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Like,
But you're forgetting that in the league, for the majority part of the season, we were playing with Archie Gray and Davis, or even Dragusin at centre half. We had who else do we have? We had obviously Dogo was still right, and we had Poro. That back four in Europe we played. When we played that back four, I think we won 15. I think they've only played together 20 times that back four, our best back four on paper, anyways. I think we've played 20 times and they've won 15 out of the 20 as the back four. Something like that. Something stupid. Something silly.
But then why didn't he adapt when he had the injuries and play further back?
See that because he's. I don't know.
up his own arse. Yeah.
But the players have to take blame as well. I'm not backing Angie. I'm not by any means.
Yeah, but the players need to take responsibility. Yeah.
Look at the players.
Yeah, I'm not
the
saying.
players yesterday, they had the chance to. He played about a second string team, whatever, apart from Poro. Them players that we had fielded out there.
They had a chance to push to prove why they deserve to start on Wednesday, and they haven't proven it.
But you look at Andrew on the touchline; he didn't seem that bothered. Like he took off Bentancur at half time to rest him. I think he got scared because Kulusevski got the knock. Kulusevski didn't train today, by the way.
Oh, that's
No, I
great.
didn't.
Bergvall might be back though, so fingers crossed. I'm
So
praying on him.
Villa on Friday is going to be battering, probably.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the league. I'm gonna go with it in reverse order. I'm gonna go winning goal first, then score prediction. Chris, for you, if you had to have one player score a winning goal for Tottenham in the Europa League final, who are you picking and why?
It's got to be Son. It's got to be Son.
Fair enough. It's a bit obvious why. I don't even need to ask why.
Why?
It's a bit obvious why. Yeah.
Shall I go to why or not?
Nah. Yeah, it's self-explanatory, really. To be fair, Harry.
Bentancur,
Okay.
because I think his performances this season have gone really under the radar since he's come back from his ACL. And he's quietly been our best player, I think, consistently over the past few months.
Okay.
And just not really talking about it. So I really love him to score in the final.
Okay, that's fair price.
Like a nice banger from 30 yards.
I want a 92nd minute corner, Vicario. I want him to do his best Alisson impression. Ball comes into the box, near post, flicks it on, off the bar and in. Vicario is absolutely mental. Tottenham fans go mental. Mate, could you imagine the scenes?
I think we're more likely to concede from a corner.
Yeah. Fuck's sake. Score prediction, Harry, for the final.
2-1 to United.
Oh, for fuck's sake, what are you going to say that, you bastard? My little brother asked me this morning what I thought, and I told him I'll wait until his sats were finished before I told him, so he didn't have a heart attack during the week. Chris?
No, I believe it'll be. I believe it's gonna be 1-1. It's gonna extra time. I believe it's say 1-1 for extra time as well. So I think you're forgetting that both teams are literally it's rather dying. It's still a dive next season as well.
Yeah.
Just not just this season. So it's either Champions League or not, and just some window will be completely different. So I think both teams will also be scared and passive. So I'm going for 1-1 until for extra time, and we'll go to a penalty shootout. And unfortunately, we lose the penalty shootout.
No, I'll kill myself.
You give me David Bentley. You know we played United in the cup final in 2009 on the Redknapp.
Yes.
We lost on
As soon
penalties.
as
Penalties.
Yes.
Yeah, I was there. Like,
Oh my god.
we should have won that final anyway. That's the
I'm saying I said 2-1 either way, and I've said 2-1 either way when every single person has asked me. But I'm going to say 2-1. I have to do it. I'm going to say 2-1 Spurs. I'm going to say 92nd minute Brennan Johnson back post tap in. Harry will stand there and not celebrate. I kid you not. I can see him standing there not celebrating. I just think, do you know what, right? I actually made a comment because Alistair Gold tweeted earlier saying that Regulon made a reckless challenge on Brennan Johnson. It looked like he might have been injured. And I said 9 times out of 10, I'd have said, yeah, cool, thanks for that. But that 1 out of 10 is the fact that he always scores a back post tap against United.
He's going to play Johnson, Solanke and Richarlison as the front three in the final. I think
he's going to play Son, Solanke, Brennan Johnson.
Because if Kulusevski has an injury, I think he'll try and fit them all in. He might have placed Son in the midfield.
At this point, I'd play Bergvall on one leg before I play Kulusevski, which is mental because
he's going to have to play Basuma and Bentancur by default, I think. And then is he going to play Sarr as a third midfielder? I don't know. I don't see him doing that.
We can't go into to attack him. We can't. We have to go there and not be so.
I don't think
you can drop Richarlison after his performances coming back from injury. You can't drop him.
I think if we go with Basuma,
love him.
I think if we go with Basuma, Bentancur and Sarr, has Sarr further forward, his sheer relentless energy is going to knacker that United 2 centre mids. Casemiro hasn't got the legs for it anymore. Ugarte's not exactly the quickest. I think that 3 would run that ridge. It's not the most technical, but the relentlessness of the running, the pressing, I think would really suffocate those 2 central midfielders.
No creativity.
No, true.
We'll lack it.
I think... Unless we end up being one of those situations where, I hate to mention the master of all football, but unless we play sort of Sean Dyche-esque, where the midfield is purely to do the running, we're literally playing for corners, set pieces and trying to score from those, rather than trying to score from open play.
I mean, I'll take Dyche right now.
For that. They ain't got a hat for that, though.
You say we haven't got a high for it, but some of the corner routines and some of the set piece routines we've done this season have been really effective.
Yeah, I know you guys. Well, I don't know about Chris, but I know you like Tel. I'm not a big fan of Tel at all. To be honest,
no, I don't like Tel.
Anything. Huh?
No,
I hate Tel.
No, it's me. Like, what? No, I hate him. He's 19 years old, man. Give yourself a break.
I just don't think there's anything with it. I'd rather we get more. Gave Mikey more minutes personally.
Yeah, but I would not. I said this to you, David, anyways, before Harry joined. Well, we should not be spending anywhere near 60 million on Tel when we got Mikey Moore there coming through, anyways, for free.
But Odegaard more. Like, there's so many options on the wings. Like,
don't need Tel. I don't want Tel. Yeah, you call. But David, yeah, that's contradict. You've been a bit of like a hypocrite there. You said that if a player's gonna be like, if player's gonna be good, the age doesn't matter. Whatever you said, it's just along them lines. Right. So he's 19. Yes, I don't care. He's come in. Yeah, cool. He's passionate. Yeah. He don't offer nothing. It does not offer. He offers fuck all. It doesn't offer anything.
Yeah, but your counter option is Richarlison. Like, unless you're spamming crosses, then
I don't even think Richarlison's the best striker. But I'd rather see him play on the left.
Yes, thank you. Because Richarlison, I'd rather Richarlison up front than fucking Solanke at the minute. Because Richarlison's come back from his injuries that he's had all season, and he's scored more frequently than Solanke has done. How does that make sense?
Yeah, but the way Solanke's being told to play, and then the way we're putting the balls into him is appalling. Imagine me saying to you, right? Imagine we're playing like 5-a-side, and I say, stand over there by that back post. We're going to cross the ball to you. We're going to put it on a plate for you. You just got to tap it in consistently.
This is why
every time I get the ball on the right hand side, I run down the wing. I either cut it back to the person behind me or I shoot myself. You're never going to fucking score. You're a decoy. Solanke for the majority of the season has pretty much been a decoy, and I hate it because I believe there is so much more of a player in there, and I think this is one of the reasons why I can't wait to be done with him, because there's so much more to come from so many of these individual players, and it's not going to happen under this. It's just not going to happen under this manager. And I still stand by my belief that if we played Solanke up front next season with Son playing off of him, floating off of him, those two would be brilliant and really effective. But anyway, that's next season. So what's it? We've done the prediction. We've done better season than Arsenal. We've covered the Europa League campaign. Anything else we need to cover, really?
The one thing with Charleston, the good thing I saw about him playing on the left wing, apart from his work rate, was he actually was putting crosses in. Like,
yeah, not very well though, were they? Like, well,
none of our wingers. Johnson couldn't cross even if his life depended on it.
Couldn't put a cross in a polling box.
David, you made a good point about Solanke and someone else floating off him. I wouldn't say Son, though. I'd say Johnson.
Yeah,
that's what Harry said as well.
Yeah. I'd say Johnson. Yeah. Johnson don't strike me as a winger.
Johnson's like Dele Alli. That's what I confirm.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think that's like a shadow striker behind the striker. That'd be good. You might strike.
Yeah. And then like
for his £50 million
Madison or something, Chris behind them. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just dreading next season. To be honest, I don't even know what I'm talking about next season.
The problem is like they need to make the manager decision correct, because if they don't,
we're gonna have another 2 years of dog shit.
We could be a relegation this season. I'm not gonna lie.
I think the disadvantage for any other manager that comes in as well is if they come in and there's no Europe, if the results start badly, they'll fire them, same as we did with Nuno. If you have a manager that has Europe, they'll be given naturally more time. So I think whichever manager takes this job will be looking at it going, either I need to get it spot on from the start because there's no European football, there's no safety net, or I've got European football. It's a better, more appealing job for me to take because I might end up having a bit more leeway because I've got another competition. Because the only reason he's still in the job is Europe. If we went out the Europa League against AZ Alkmaar, he'd be gone already. So, for me personally, I feel like it's just it gives us different managerial options because of that safety buffer. But like I say, there's nothing we can do about it. We just got to wait and see now. The one thing I will say,
because Paratici's coming in. And
I think so. Paratici and Lange working together, we might finally have some sort of stability again.
But that all depends on next Wednesday, man. Our window is defined by next Wednesday. Literally,
whole life is dependent on
I think the next 5 years of our club is all dependent on what happens on Wednesday.
Really?
I think the next 5 years of our club is determined by what happens.
You know who scares the shit out of me? Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I know. You're the third person to say that to me today, and now thanks for making me feel like
I watched the Lyon game, and I was like watching this thinking Lyon are going to knock them out, and now nowhere they scored 3 goals. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Porre, mate, on the left wing, you need to cover Harry Maguire. He's going to run at you, dribble like he's a fucking 95 rated footies card on FIFA.
And then chop Maguire up front, he'll score a header in it.
That'll be it. Yeah. Let's hope not.
I don't know. I just think Amrin's a better manager as well. I don't know. I think it'll be quite cagey. I agree with Chris. I think it'll be very cagey.
It's going to be tight, yeah.
Which is what makes it worse a bit because we're seeing a sweat.
Do you know what? Right, it sounds really bad, but as long as we score, not as long as we score because I want us to win, and I'll be pissed if we don't. But I want us to score, and I want us to score first or like an equaliser. I don't want it to be where we're scoring where we're like 3 goals behind and it's pointless, so that I can actually celebrate a scoring in the final. We didn't have one against City. We didn't have one in the Champions League final. Like, I can't remember the last goal I celebrated in knockout competition, like massively. Like, it really meant so, like, probably Lucas Moura. I'm not going to lie. So, we need that as Tottenham fans. We need to feel, even if it only lasts 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 89 minutes and they score 2 goals, whatever, we just need to feel that there's a chance. I'm hoping it's one of those situations where we come out of the blocks and we score early. I'm not going to lie, because if United score early, listen, I got deja vu.
Bruno, you've got Garnacho,
and that's where we'll leave it before Harry convinces everybody that we're not going to win the Europa League. Next week, guys, we are going to record on Thursday night. So the Friday's episode will be a reaction to the final. It's probably only going to be about 20 minutes long, depending on whether it's a good result or a long result. We'll either be hungover as fuck or we'll be hungover as fuck and depressed. Depends on which way it's going to go.
Even if it is, I won't be depressed because, like, I'm used to losing, so it's...
Okay, I'll be depressed and Harry will be himself.
I'll just be like, it's just another day at Tottenham.
I know, obviously, we're getting towards the end of the season now, guys, and I appreciate all the support on the podcast. We're not going to talk about the Premier League, regardless of the result. So the episode afterwards, we'll go through the squad, keep, sell, talk about manager speculation, etc. The week after that, we're going to pull out the Tottenham quiz book. My stepdad got me, because I know we mentioned that as well, so that'll be good fun. I'll quiz Harry and see how many he can get. I know Jack's asked to come on again because he wants to take the piss out of the Europa League campaign. So we'll talk. He's an Everton fan, so I don't know what he's got to smile about really, but yeah, we'll get.
He was just laughing at us last time.
I know he was. He was just laughing at me and you arguing at the time. That feels like a lifetime ago now. But yeah, it's been a long season. But listen, what's this? Episode 43 now, I think 42. I think we'll probably get to 50 for the season, and then whether we take a break for the summer or whether we start the new season from there, I don't know. We might keep it. We'll see. We'll have a chat. Me and Aaron have a chat off recording. We'll kind of work out what we want to do. Whether we want to have a specific number, whether we just want to end whenever it feels like a natural end and the new season begins. It might be that we do it. We do this season up until the transfer window opens, and then the transfer window starts for the new season because it's part of the new season. You know, it might be that we do. You know, from June.
There's no Euros, there's no World Cup, is there?
So no international tournament this year. So we'll have loads of people on over the summer. We'll do loads of guest who's, loads of other stuff. Chris, thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated.
43 or 44, did you say?
Yeah, this is one of the two, 43 or 44. I don't know which one it is off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can't remember. But Chris, thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Apart from your nosebleed earlier. If Harry's saying to come on again, then listen, that's a good sign. Most of the time, to be fair, I don't think there's a single person that I brought on where Harry sat there and gone, "Why the fuck did you bring them on?" So everyone's been really good. Everyone's been really lovely. It's been good. Make sure you guys like, make sure you subscribe, drop us a like on YouTube, drop us a 5-star review on Spotify. So my little brother, if you're listening to this, I love you lots, because I found he was listening to the episode this morning when I called him to wish him good luck with his sats. So if you're listening to this, little man, I love you lots, and we'll catch you guys on Thursday. Fingers crossed I'm singing Champions of Europe. Fingers crossed. But it's either going to be 20 minutes of me and Harry with our heads in our hands or me screaming and shouting and chanting. But we're going to Bilbao, 90 minutes away from glory. That's all. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We'll catch you next week. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Tottenham.
Spurs.